Hey there, emerging expat! You're tuned in to Let's Move to Portugal. I'm Victoria from Expats Everywhere's podcast, and I have the distinct honor of bringing you, YouTube travelers, and our resident of Portugal experts, Expats Everywhere's Josh and Kalie. Each week they'll inspire, they'll educate, and they'll accompany you on your journey to Portuguese residency. This week on Let's Move to Portugal, Kalie and Diogo, a Portuguese lawyer, discuss the recent changes in immigration laws in Portugal. Find out what these updates can mean for you. To keep this podcast going strong, we've included a few brief ads. Thanks for supporting us by listening.
One of the most important pre-move things to consider involves your finances. Here's the cool thing. If you've moved already, it's not too late.
Yeah, that's right, because we met John a little late in our journey, but he certainly helped us make sure that we're on the right track.
John McNerney from Green Ocean Advisors is an American living in Lisbon with an office in San Francisco, which helps him have a pulse on both sides of the pond. John helps people understand where they're at before they take the plunge and move abroad.
As a financial advisor, John can help you understand your financial position no matter what stage of life you're in, whether you're curious about what your realistic retirement date is or how to invest your money post-retirement.
His love for finance and the differences between US and Europe have given him the ability to guide his clients in the right direction when it comes to investing and allocating funds. For example, you might want to sell your house before you become a tax resident here in Portugal, so you're not paying additional taxes here.
Josh and I have even talked to him on several occasions about some major life events that have happened to us and how to navigate them smartly from a financial perspective. If you'd like to be put in touch with John from Green Ocean Global, click on his Calendly link below to schedule a free consultation that he provides our viewers to see if he's the right fit for you.
Just make sure that you choose the Expats Everywhere intro call for your free consultation. Hey, expats and travelers alike, welcome back to Expats Everywhere Presents Let's Move to Portugal podcast. Kalie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, beating the heat, I think. It's really nice to have air conditioning. Not everyone does here, so it's been hot, though. How are you doing?
It's been real hot. I've been doing well. I feel like it has definitely been good to survive this particular summer with the fact that we have aircon.
Yes.
First time in 5 years. Let's go.
And speaking with a Portuguese friend, he was like, it's hotter this year. Like, this doesn't feel normal. And then the joke is always like, well, what's normal? Which is true. But like, it does seem like it is a hotter summer right now.
Yes. And I do feel like the winter was not as bad as it normally is.
Yeah, it's true. And I guess because it wasn't as rainy as well. Like, the fires didn't really start until fairly recently. We were commenting a couple weeks ago how it's like, oh, fires haven't been that bad, but now they've started up, unfortunately. So
they popped up more. You smell it in the air a little more.
But it is hot. But other than that, I mean, things are going well. I'm really excited about today's podcast, which we'll talk about in a minute, but it's such good information, pertinent to anyone actually who is thinking about moving, is already here, has been here for a while, whether you just arrived or it's been a while. Like, there's a lot of good information with Diogo, the lawyer that we speak with, about what is changing in the immigration circle, I guess you could say, of Portugal.
Yeah, and I think it's a tricky one in the sense that, like, when we talk about immigration changes, sometimes there's immigration changes for the positive, and other times it's for the negative. In terms of like the
more negatively,
the way it affects you,
right.
and then other times it's just like, really, like we're doing something different now, like what, like why, or I mean, I think to some extent with what AIMA's doing or what the statements about what AIMA's attempting, it's like, man, are you really going to be able to pull any of this off? Like, really?
Yeah, I mean, they're new online stuff that's supposed to launch in January 2026. I mean, someone sent me this really long article about all the things that AIMA is going to do. And I'm like, I will believe it when I see it. Because for years we've heard they're going to do this, they're going to do this. And sometimes it rolls out, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times it rolls out and it just does not function. It doesn't work. So especially stuff that's online. It's maybe not user friendly or just merely does not work. So yeah, let's see how, I mean, they've got all these things they're going to do. So let's see if it comes off.
Okay. So if you're new here, you're a new listener, thank you for coming on. And if you're an old listener, thanks.
Welcome back.
We appreciate that. Just to give you an indication of the way this show works is we do start out with a quick introduction, overview of what the episode is about. And then we move into the weekly welcome portion where we try to keep it to around 10 minutes, but we like to catch you up on what's happening on a weekly basis with Expats Everywhere. And then we get into kind of why you clicked on it, that kind of title thumbnail combo that you clicked on, or if you're listening to this in audio only format, then it would definitely be just the title that you clicked on. So that's about immigration. But just to get you caught up, what's been happening, over the past couple of weeks for us on the YouTube side of things, it's been good.
Yeah.
We've had a very good video that went out. I don't want to pat myself on the back for it. No, I don't. I just feel like it was one where we took our time with structuring exactly what we really needed to say, and we felt.
Mm-hmm. The video well received.
Very well received. And the video is basically like the lessons that we've learned over the past, not just for Portugal, but there's crossover to what we've said in this video to really anywhere we've moved. And it could apply to anywhere, most of the things anyways. So that video went out 2 weeks ago. And then the one that went out just on Saturday was a city guide about Tomar, which also got a bunch of positive feedback in the sense that we're still willing and excited to go to smaller towns in Portugal and report back to you and capture visuals for you so that you can see what they look like, to see if you want to put it on your short list of places that you might potentially want to move to or just visit. So that was a fun one to do. And we've got a few more in the works. That would be Caldas de Rainha and Óbidos. And I feel like
Óbidos, I mean, like that'll be pushed off.
But it's in the works. Like we've started filming. We're gonna go back. We're gonna get a better feel of things because we were there during the medieval festival, and that's not fair. It's not fair to judge a town based on that.
Yeah, that is true. And then I think we had mentioned last week that because of our camping, we had visited Castelo Branco, which is like, wow, this is nice.
I want to see Castelo Branco a little more. But I liked it. I liked what I saw.
So, if there's any cities or towns that you're interested in, you could throw it out there. I mean, I say that, but it's obviously like if it's like an itty bitty town and there's one or two people interested, it's a little harder to get on board.
Which some people have thrown out there.
It's true. So we're thinking more like the bigger to medium sized places that are on people's radars. Maybe not the super remote places that would just be for like a couple of you, because that's a little harder to get a whole video together.
Hey, can you go to Monsanto and tell us, make a city guide or make a town village guide? And it's like 97 people live there, period. Like,
which is true,
that's 97 villagers that live there. Do any foreigners really want to move there?
I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, maybe people want to move there, but it's like, should you?
Yeah. That could be tricky.
Infrastructure. Rough.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it could be a tough landing spot. Maybe you could move to after you get settled into Portugal.
That's true. Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. I've actually we've noticed that here lately, people kind of in our circle are considering moving from Porto to Viana do Castelo. Right?
Just because something a little smaller and more affordable.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I think some people are just feeling priced out. They're ready to buy, but now they're seeing like, wow, it's expensive to buy. Getting a little priced out of Lisbon and Porto. Yeah. So a lot of people interested.
It's like half a dozen people I can think of that we've
somewhat recently
talked to. Yeah. So I find that interesting. And if Viana do Castelo is not on your radar, check it out after this episode.
Yeah, we do have
we've got a city guide about it.
We really like it. Yeah. It is further north, so you have to think about that. I think weather is kind of the big thing, but and connectivity. But
we've got to make a decision if we want to go to the Santa Maria da Feira thing this
medieval
coming
reenactment.
Week. Yeah, this
That's
week.
Going on. It's hot though.
It's super hot.
We went a couple years ago and it was really hot, so that was tough. Like
it was not enjoyable for Valencia.
She got really hot. But if not, that is a good one to go to. It's the I believe it's the largest medieval reenactment, different than a festival in all of Europe.
Yeah.
So it's really nicely done. So if you haven't done that, it's a good travel to go to one. But lots of festivals going on right now, which is always great in the summer in Portugal.
And then upcoming is the start of the new league for Portugal.
Yes.
So if you're into football, soccer, then you can start catching matches. If you're over here on a visit, you can catch matches. You can try. Anyways.
Game opener on Saturday, which is at home for Porto. So we're excited. We did the friendlies and they're looking really good. A lot better than last year. So we're excited for the season. Hopeful, I guess you could say.
Hopeful. Yeah. I mean, I actually saw a content creator that I follow, Portuguese guy that lives in Germany, that makes videos in Portuguese language. Most of the time he does speak English as well, and sometimes German. I won't say what he's famous for because it's a curse word in Portuguese.
I know what you're talking about.
I'll drop a link, actually, if I can remember. I'll drop a link to his Instagram, but he's a top creator. But he had posted on, I think it was the goal that we scored yesterday was a very nice goal. He's a Sporting fan, and Sporting was not involved in the game. It was Porto versus Atletico Madrid, and he commented on it, and he's like, it's good to see that the big three are back, like that there's going to be potentially a 3-horse race for the league.
Yep. Well, we'll see how Sporting does as well, because them just selling.
A lot of people were trolling him. They were like, it's the big two. It's the big two.
Yeah.
Sporting's gone now because Sporting sold their star, and then it looks like their captain actually could potentially get sold too. Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Okay. Anyway, so
enough about football.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and touch briefly on what I speak with Diogo, and then let's get to it because it's really good. So I think a lot of misinformation has gone out about what's happened. You know, a lot of stuff's already in effect. Stuff has already been voted on. And this happened even like over a month ago when literally nothing had been voted on. It seemed like they were moving very quickly with stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, we need to get the information out of like what actually has been voted on. We talked about different dates of when Parliament met, when they actually voted, what they voted on, what went into effect.
Yes.
And then the big stuff that will affect a lot of us, even us personally, which is due to happen in September when they meet. Right now they're on recess. So it's
Are you alluding to naturalization requirements?
Yep, with the citizenship changing from 5 to 10 years for a lot of us. So we talk about all those things, dates. He gives clarification on what's actually happened, because a lot of stuff made it sound like, boom, it's done. And there's not boom done just yet.
Irritated me so much. And you know, the funny thing is I alluded to those potential changes in the video we did on the main YouTube channel 2 weeks ago. And people were like coming at me like I misspoke. I mean, basically, like I said, and the potential changes. I can't remember what I said verbatim, but it's like, and the potential change of the naturalization. I didn't say anything about like it's definitely changed or now it's 10 years instead of 5 years.
Yeah.
I was very careful specifically because that has irritated us, that like the news or at least headlines have portrayed it as if it's a done deal. Now, in reality, will it be a done deal? Probably. Like most signs point to, they're changing it from 5 to 10
But
years.
It's not written into law yet. So,
correct.
And we don't know exactly how long it will take.
We don't know what the legal challenges could be, although lawyers say that, you know, there probably won't be that many legal challenges for the time period specifically.
Right, but Diogo explains like how it works as well, how the process has to be. So the actual legal process, you know, of course, going to the president, constitutional courts, before it can actually be written into law. It goes in a package. So if there's changes. So we talk about all that stuff. It's really good information. So make sure you listen through all of it, because it's just jam-packed of what you need to know through the whole thing.
Yeah, this one, you can't really skip around because
you might miss something.
Weaved.
Yeah.
So enjoy. I mean, we know that you're here because you want to know the minutia. You like to dig into the details, which I applaud you for that. So enjoy this episode.
Let's get to it.
We know that relocating can be stressful. Trust us, Portugal is the 5th country we've relocated to.
So it's nice to have someone helping you out, which is why we can confidently recommend Global International Relocation, which is a leading provider of relocation, moving, and mobility services.
They can support individuals, families, and even businesses when it comes to moving internationally.
I like how they're able to simplify the relocation process, and they help with everything you can think of, and actually even those things that you don't think of.
Of course, you have the immigration side of things, but there are aspects like pet relocation, shipping your car, moving household goods, and settling in that are all things they assist with. They're really comprehensive when it comes to mobility.
With over 17 years of experience and having expertise in over 180 countries, they aren't just for your move to Portugal.
So for personalized assistance, visit global.pt or get in touch with us for an introduction and to receive a personalized relocation quote.
Diogo, there's so much going on right now with the parliament and immigration and all the changes going on in Portugal. So we've got you on here today to give us some clarity, see what is actually happening, what's not happening, because there's some misinformation, I think, going on online as well. So we want to know what's actually been passed through parliament, what that looks like for foreigners here, and all those fun things. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's start with at the beginning of July. So we are recording this at the end of July. At the beginning of July, Parliament met, right? I think it was July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And at that meeting, what did they talk about? Did they pass anything? What happened on that meeting in July, at the beginning of the month?
Basically, they just talked generically about the immigration law, and at that time, nothing happened. But later on, there was a voting on Parliament regarding the new immigration law and some new amendments that the government wants to establish on that specific law. And actually, last week, the President of the Republic, after this voting has happened and it was approved on Parliament, the President was just checking on the law and or the decree that basically the government wants to be approved by the President, and decided to send forward this new law to the Constitutional Court.
Okay.
There are some concerns regarding some unconstitutionalities that might happen or might be present on that document. So it's just preventing that those unconstitutionalities are approved and get into force, and then President basically send back to the Constitutional Court so they can analyze. They are like judges seeing and checking if these new amendments are complying with the Constitution in Portugal, and if they are, they can go and back to the President to be approved. Finally, will be in force. However, if they don't think this is the case and there are some things that might be illegal in the eyes of the Constitution, then this document will be sent back to the Parliament to be discussed once again, to be once approved. And so some amendments might occur at that point. And after this change on the document, the President will need to approve once again. So It's possible that this will take a little bit longer than it was expected before, now that the President has sent this document to the Constitutional Court.
Okay, good to know. Okay, so at the beginning of July, they met and they talked. They didn't vote on anything, but in the middle of July, July 16th, I think it was, they met and they actually voted on some stuff, but not everything that's been talked about, because we've, been hearing things about obviously the citizenship thing that's changing, but then family reunification, the border. So they voted on some things, but not all things on July 16th. And then this is the stuff they voted on July 16th is what was sent to the President, who has now sent it to the Constitutional Court. So nothing has gone into effect.
Correct. Nothing.
Okay.
And you pointed out the citizenship law. Actually, it's not part of this discussion yet. They are just planning to vote the new amendments on the citizenship law by September, when they came back from recess. The Parliament came back from recess.
Okay, so Parliament's on break right now. So even if is the Constitutional Court on break as well, or they're actually looking through this right now?
They are looking through this right now because it's an urgent matter. So the President has requested some urgency. It's very likely that within 20 working days, more or less, they will be able to give a decision on this.
Okay. So if they say everything looks good, then the President will sign off on it, and then that's it. It'll go into effect, right?
Exactly.
But if they say there's even one part of it that's not good, then they have to send it all the way back to Parliament. Like,
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so even if most of it is good, but one part's not, it's not like you can say only this part needs to be fixed, but the rest can be signed into law. It's the whole package goes back to
That's right.
Parliament.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about what's in this package, I guess you could say. So the good thing for us, personally, for Josh and I, is that they don't have the citizenship, the change from the 5 to 10 years in this package.
Mhm.
They put that off for the fall, because for us, we can apply next month. So before we talk about, I guess, what actually is in the package, let's talk about that citizenship part, because we don't know too much. We just know that they're looking to change it from 5 to 10 years for passport holders like me.
Mhm. That's correct.
And
So
okay.
basically, that's the main change on the citizenship law. They are now changing this from 5 years up to 10 years. So for those that, like you, are living in Portugal and having a residence card for more than 5 years, it's no longer possible, or they will not be able to submit their citizenship application after 5 years of legal residence here in Portugal. They will actually need to wait 10 years so they can have access to the citizenship.
Right. Okay. So through naturalization, they're looking to move from 5 to 10. But for our case, if we apply next month and then they do pass this law, we should be grandfathered in.
Correct, because since Portugal is under the rule of law, as soon as you submitted your citizenship application, you are in what I call the safe zone. Basically, even if there are some legal amendments in the future, they will not be applicable to you unless they are coming into your favor. Okay, so only favorable amendments will be applicable to you. The others will not.
Okay. All right. So in September they'll meet, and how long do you think that process will be? Like, it'll go through the same process as this last vote, where they vote, they send it to the president. The president then has to see if there's anything in there that he needs to send to the constitutional court, and then that whole package will go. So it'll do the same thing.
Right. Actually, these new changes should follow, or should have followed some legal steps. In this particular case, the government is trying to establish these new rules as soon as possible. So some of these legal steps that normally happen, and they are required for these laws to be accepted and to be approved on Parliament, were not taken, basically. And this is a concern that even the president has expressed when he sent this document back to the Constitutional Court. Because now, as we can see, the government is trying to do something regarding the immigration and the citizenship landscape. Basically, according to their point of view, they need to act fast and on this, and so that it's possible that the citizenship law will follow the exact same situation, or they will follow the same steps as the immigration law. They will probably have a discussion on Parliament where they will talk about it. Later, they will be voting, and after the voting, they will be sending to the president, and the president will, of course, need to analyze this new decree law, try to understand whether if it's constitutional or not under his view, and if there are some concerns regarding the constitution of this law, then he will be sending this to the Constitutional Court so they can analyze. And once again, this court will check on everything if there's something there that might be illegal, and if that is the case, they will be sending back to Parliament.
Okay. What kinds of things did they not do that they were supposed to do?
Basically, some hearings on Parliament that are mandatory, hearing some entities that are related with immigration. and some others that are related with some official entities in Portugal and organisms in Portugal that will look into these kind of amendments and give some opinions, legal opinions on what they think it should go forward or not. In this case, the parliament or the government didn't follow these steps. There were some controversy from some parties on parliament exactly because of this. And even the president has pointed out this as a problem for the future, because these entities are a key or they are key to, of course, implement all these measures in the future. So it's important to hear them, and since they are in the field working with this every day, it's good to have their opinion first before changing the law, and at the end this law might not be so useful as they are planning to. So this is the kind of thing that we expect that they do not do in the future once again, but we are not so sure if they are following the same steps or not for the citizenship law. We expect not, of course.
Okay. All right. Now, when we talk about the citizenship, we're talking about with through naturalization, but I have been asked about those who have a golden visa. So if you have a golden visa, like if you've applied for your golden visa, but let's say you haven't even gotten your biometrics done yet, and then they pass this law, does the 5 years, does that affect the golden visa holders, or is it the same clumped in together?
Actually, it will affect, because the only way you have to not be under these new rules, basically the citizenship amendments, will be for those that have been able to submit their citizenship application before. Okay. Like you were saying, Kalie, in your case, you plan to do this by August. So if you do, and even if the law changes by September, since you have been able to submit your citizenship process in August, 1 month before, you no longer need to worry about the amendments. But for those that are still waiting for their 5 years to pass, then they, of course, will be affected by this new law. Yes.
Okay. So someone, for example, who can apply in October, if it gets passed in September and they could apply in October, it's too bad. They have to wait 5 more years. Oh, that's that's rough. Yeah. But hopefully, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a very fast process. Like even if they meet in September, which, do you know the date that they meet in September?
Not yet, no. It's not yet scheduled. Basically, the parliament has a schedule, official scheduling, but there's no date there yet. They have not. They did not announce yet when they will be voting or discussing this new amendment on the law.
Okay, but even when it gets passed, because we think it will, it does take time. Because look at this, last time, July 16th, they voted and they passed it. It went to the president. It's in constitutional court. So again, nothing has gone into effect, and it's still been a couple weeks. So I guess for those who are close, like October, the hope would be that it takes them a little longer to actually pass it and go into effect, even if they vote yes in September.
Yes, it's true. And since these are so sensitive laws and changes, that it's very likely that the president will follow the same steps, basically, and for him to be sure that is not promulgating a law that will later on be considered to be unconstitutional, is very likely to send this to the Constitutional Court once again. It's not so easy to approve a law with this, or some amendments with a law with this importance and dimension, without going to the Constitutional Court, as you might imagine.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, so that's all what's happening in the fall. So I'm sure we'll have you back on once things get going and we get a little more of like what's actually gone into effect. But like I mentioned at the beginning, there was so much misinformation that this stuff was already passed, like the citizenship or the family reunification, the border control, all of it was passed. Like we were reading all these articles, but again, nothing has actually gone into effect yet. Right now, the
Correct.
first one that happened in the middle of the month of this month is in the constitutional courts, that
Correct.
package.
Actually, the border control has actually been approved. Okay, there's a specific entity right now that is now have been approved and is going to work in the borders, like you said. But for all other amendments, there were no changes whatsoever. Of course, there are people that are interested on announcing these measures, and they are trying to push people to act fast and start their processes. Of course, it's for those that are planning to do their applications. It's better to move fast. That is my advice here. If you are already committed on doing something and relocating to Portugal, now it's the time. So you can basically be under the rules that are established right now. But of course, these nothing has started yet. It's not even into effect, but it will in the near future. So that's good to understand this very clearly and the consequences for the future.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll talk about what's in that package, but before, tell me about the border control. So they decided to create a new entity that would help secure the border?
Correct, like a policy, basically. So a police, a border police. So as you remember, we had an immigration police before AIMA was created. The immigration agency was created, and now they want to reestablish this police, the immigration police, with a different scope of activity, with a different way to approach the immigration processes. Okay, they will not handle the administrative part of the immigration processes. All of this will keep on the AIMA's hands, of course. But for the border control, it makes no sense to have a police that is not specialized in this kind of situations, because it's not just a matter of accepting people into the country or not, but there are several problems that human trafficking and things very serious that are happening in our borders, and it's important to have a specialized police there, making sure that there are no problems or avoiding all the problems that they can. So they established this new police. No changes will occur in terms of the processing times for the immigration processes. It's not they were not created for that purpose, but of course they will be handling crimes that occur in the borders and things like that. Okay, but yeah, that police was approved. The creation was approved, and they are already into force, these new rules. Yes.
Okay, so are we going to see these police at the airports, or are they along the coast, or like day to day? Or okay,
it's expected to have both parts. Yes, on the coast and also in the airports.
Okay, but not driving across into Spain. If you're driving across the border, you probably wouldn't see.
There's no borders between Portugal and Spain, so it's not expected unless you are in a very specific kind of event where there are some border limitations. Sometimes this happens, okay, but it's very specific times when these occur. But basically, you will see them during the year in the border control at the airports.
Okay. All right. So that's where we'll see that. Okay. So that's been passed. That's good though, protecting the border. Now, let's talk about what's in this package from July 16th that actually is now like currently in the hands of the Constitutional Court. What was in there?
I think there are three big changes that might occur in this immigration law. Basically, there are very big change on the family reunification processes. Okay, so for those that are planning to bring their family members, it is advisable to do it right from the beginning when they are planning to have, or they are um, uh, requesting the visa, the residence visa at the consulate. Okay, so it's good to bring all the family members at that stage and do like a family process. Okay, because for those there are no legal changes that will happen, so everything will remain the same. They can bring the entire family to the country, and here they will be able to have an appointment with the immigration agency and get residence cards for all the family members. But for those that are planning to come alone and later on to start the family reunification for their family members, then uh, there are some very big changes here. Okay, first, if they do that, they accomplish and they now have their residence cards, they will be only able to do the family reunification for minors,
Okay.
their children or children-in-law, okay, that are
Okay.
minors and living with them here in Portugal.
And a minor is anyone under 18?
Exactly, under
Okay.
18 years old, correct. For the other family members, including spouses, they will need to wait about 2 years for
Mm.
them to be able to make the family reunification for the other family members. This is it's a very big discussion here if this new rule will not be affecting the some family laws that are already established within the European Union. Okay,
Okay.
I personally I think that it will be very difficult to get this into force because of that, but we never know. Okay, so these are the new rules regarding the family reunification processes. So in my perspective, if someone wants to bring the entire family, they should plan for this relocation to happen only by the time they are able to bring all the family members. Otherwise, they might be separated for a long period of time, namely more or less 2 years, for them to bring all the family members they want, including the spouses. So
Okay.
I don't see that this will be a good scenario for everyone. Um, Probably just for a few couple of people that are okay with this, but for the majority of people, this will not be acceptable to be separated for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, just plan before, bring all the family right from the beginning all together, and you will avoid waiting for such a long time to be with them.
Okay.
Besides family reunification, there's also some big changes that are occurring related with the job seeker visa. Job seeker visa was used to every type of people that are actually planning to come to Portugal and get a work relationship with the company here in order to establish their residency in Portugal. But now what the government is planning to do is to make some restrictions in a way that the job seeker visa will only be applicable for highly qualified professionals.
Okay.
Those that are actually having some academic diplomas and they have like university diplomas and they want to relocate to Portugal and get a salary from a company based in Portugal for more than 1,500 euros gross salary per month, they will still be able to get the job seeker visa for all others will be no longer possible. Okay. And
Okay.
so for those that are not highly qualified professionals, the only way they have to relocate to Portugal will be under work visa, a normal work visa, and they will need to apply at the consulate in their country of residence in order to get that visa when they already have the work contract in their hands. Okay, so before moving to Portugal, they already have to have a formal work contract with a company in Portugal, so they can establish their or apply for their visa and then establish their residence here in Portugal after.
Okay.
Besides job seeker, there is also another change regarding the Portuguese-speaking countries. Portuguese-speaking countries like, for example, Angola, Brazil, Mozambique, Cape Verde, they were under a very specific kind of rules, okay, due to some agreements that were settled between Portugal and those countries, that allow them, citizens from those countries, to come to Portugal, and avoiding some restrictions or avoiding some steps and making the process of obtaining visas to Portugal very easy. Now it's no longer possible, or this will also be something to that will change in the future. They will need to follow the same rules as anyone else, basically, and get the residence visas at the consulate, which sometimes it's very hard to get, let me tell you, in some countries. And basically what this means is that these agreements that were taken before will no longer be valid, and everything will get back as they were before these agreements were signed. And those, I guess, are the big changes that will happen for the immigration processes if this new law pass and the Constitutional Court and gets into force through the President of the Republic.
Okay. Now, a lot of our listeners are, looking for the D7, D8, Golden Visa. Do you foresee any of these visas changing soon? Or like while there's all these immigration changes right now going on with Parliament, do you think that any of these visas people should worry about? They're going to change?
In terms of their requirements, no. I don't see any changes occurring in the near future regarding those. Relating when you are talking about a family reunification process, yes, like I said, some changes might happen, but not so much on the processing or how the process works or the requirements needed for those visas. No changes whatsoever. No.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So then in September when they vote, they're voting on the citizenship, but what else are they going to be talking about at that meeting? Do you know?
I guess they're just discussing citizenship law changes by that time.
Okay.
So I don't think they will make any other discussions later.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone who is concerned about all these changes going on with Parliament and immigration? If someone wants to move here, what would you tell them?
So, as I was saying before, I think if they are already committed with coming to Portugal, relocating to the country, or even to get citizenship, they should act now, okay? Because the current rules are better than the ones that the government is planning to implement. So I guess it's good. It's a good time to start their process. Of course, it's better to discuss this with someone that handles this kind of processes, so they can understand whether if it's likely that these changes will be applicable to them or not. Because if someone starts their process only right now, it's very likely that some of the changes will be applicable due to the fact that the processing time for an immigration process takes some time, so it's not immediate. So this is something to be discussed before, but in my perspective, if they are planning to do this, they should act fast and move forward with their processes as soon as possible.
Okay, good to know. And of course, listener, if you want to be put in touch with Diogo, I'm happy to introduce you. You can email me at info@expatseverywhere.com and we can get that going. One other thing I did think about too is, isn't there something, and they haven't voted on it yet, or they didn't talk about it this month, but maybe in September, aren't they talking about changing the actual entry date? Remember how a couple of years ago they made the law where because they were so backed up, but it was like your entry date. They gave you those months to work towards citizenship, not what, your AIMA appointment was. Are they looking to change that back now?
Yes, they are. So besides changing the years to count in order to get access to citizenship from 5 to 10, they are also changing the time when this clock starts counting, basically. And last year, by January, the government has decided to make this counting from the time the applicant has started the immigration process. So we counted this basically from the time the visa process was submitted at the consulate. But they are now changing this for what it was in force before, which was from the time the first residence card is issued.
Okay.
So I'm quite surprised about this change. Let me tell you, it's, in my perspective, it makes no sense that they are moving back on this. It's nothing. Of course, this was a very good change in my perspective, because people cannot be affected by the lack of or the problems related with the administration in Portugal, and the backlog with the visa applications and all the processing times that are taking very long. But what they are doing right now is to get back to those times where people were waiting for so much time to actually be eligible to start counting for their citizenship time to start. But so I don't understand why, but that's something that they will also be discussing on September.
Okay. Do you think that will get passed? Just your opinion?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I
Okay.
do. Because this is not something that I see to be unconstitutional. I think it's just something that it was good under the good faith and good and good sense for those that are, of course, looking for these situations and seeing that they are not being fair with those that are staying in Portugal for such a long time, and they are just waiting because of the lack of human resources and whatsoever with AIMA and all other services in Portugal. So this was just a way to reduce this backlog and these problems for those people. But I'm not seeing this to be unconstitutional if they go back to what it was.
Okay. I mean, ideally, they process things faster, and then there isn't this issue at all anyway. There's not people waiting 6 months for their AIMA appointment here. That would be the ideal situation. But We'll see what happens. I was thinking while we were talking that because sometimes the situation actually happened with us is we had applied in August, which is why we can apply for citizenship next month. And then we arrived in October. But if you look at our initial card, it's not till January because of course, like that's when we could get the appointment. Now they have talked about giving more manpower and more resources to AIMA. So are we seeing changes, like positive changes there yet? Or what are we seeing? Like, is AIMA getting better?
I think they are starting to getting better, and not just because they are getting more manpower, as you were saying, but they are planning and starting to move things online, which is a huge step on the processing time for all types of applications here. As you know, all things related with AIMA normally lead to a phone call and being there in person. Go and displace yourself to the branch to present some documents, and they are now avoiding this. And for example, for the renewals of the residence cards, they are already making this through an online form that has been used, and I can see and I can tell that it's now working finally. And probably what they're doing for the other processes will be exactly the same. They will move this into the online and not so much to asking people to go in person and handle the documents. So probably this will make a change and will reduce the backlog, and we expect so. Besides, the minister that handles the AIMA has said that their priority for this new year is the family reunification processes and also the golden visas. So yeah, for the golden visas, we think that until the end of the year we'll see a big change and a reduction on the backlog that they have.
Okay. All right. Come on, AIMA, you can do it. Yeah. We'll see. All right. Well, Diogo, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.